Hi, we're on air. This is Trash Talk. Some last minute technical problems. Wouldn't be a fucking episode of Trash Talk if we didn't have something like that going on. So, especially after the last one we did, which was frankly fucking disastrous. But, lo fi production, bedroom broadcasting. I've just moved house. What the fuck do you want from me? So, anyway, it's Trash Talk. It's the esports phone in. I'm Richard Lewis, the editor of cadred.org. My able assistant and producer, Gareth, is floating around like some sort of ethereal body. He'll be waiting to take your calls and occasionally chip in with some of his own insight, if you could call it that. We should have a fairly action-packed show for you today. I'm hoping so, because obviously it's been 2 weeks and things have actually been happening in esports, which of course they weren't before. So we're going to have a quick look and just give you a rundown of what those things are. And I'm going to pop on my fucking reading glasses a first for the show. Right, okay, so... Well, the LoL World Finals are done and dusted. How do we feel about it? Did it eclipse the International 3, or were we underwhelmed? I want to talk to some LoL fans about that 100%. Speaking of LoL, what the fuck has got into Team Curse? You rejuvenate your team, and then what you do is you decide to kick the people you bring in to rejuvenate your team. Great comment on the top of Reddit, one of the best Reddit comments of all time, declaring the Curse manager to be the best Lee Sin NA because he just keeps kicking people blindly. LOL humour, gotta fucking love it. Also, the European Super Team, which, maybe someone... reported about that, I don't know who that'd be, has been spotted and playing. So how do we think that lineup's going to do? And where do we think they're going to end up? Like, where's going to be their home? IM New York had a fucking belting final. It was a great event, but it really had a great final between Life and Naniwa. Naniwa's looking the real deal at the moment, taking on those Koreans. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are about that. But kind of on a bit of a downward slide, like StarCraft's been taking a hit in Korea, more and more people are leaving, and that's tied to, of course, MKP, who's announced he's off to play LoL, which probably came a bit out of left field. Maybe it shouldn't, because there's no disputing that League of Legends is the most popular game in Korea right now. They fucking love that shit. And I do recall a certain Destiny getting kind of lambasted for saying that pro StarCraft players were going to leave and play League of Legends if we didn't do something about the state of StarCraft. Destiny, the fucking Oracle, right once more. Love to get your thoughts about that. I mean, is the fucking writing on the wall is what I'm effectively asking. Let's talk about CSGO, esports, little brother. And Very Games have finally got the monkey off their back by winning SLTV, which was huge for them. They persevered. They've stuck with the same team for God knows how fucking long now. And, they've only rejigged slightly compared to everyone else who just fucking does roster changes like an Etch-a-Sketch every time shit goes bad. So, they're reaping the dividends of that. And is it going to put them in good stead for DreamHack? And talking about DreamHack, is this 250k fucking tournament, is it like eclipsing all the others? Because nothing can really compete at the moment. And look, I'm not complaining. I think it's a great thing, but you got to ask the question. Maybe having something so big here makes everything next to it here look, dog shit by comparison. So maybe you've got an opinion about that and you want to call in. And that is, of course, what this show is all about. Your calls. We want you to call in. We want you to add Trash Talk TV to your Skype. Tell the producer what you want to call about. I got a feeling, I think this might be the day we get the first troll caller. I don't know. I haven't set anything up. This isn't live on 3. Nothing's scripted. But, I just got that feeling about it because I've been getting spammed left, right, and fucking centre by creepy weirdos. Which reminds me, before we go to the first call, our regular feature is the Wall of Hate, where all the people out there who've been upset by things I've said and done and all of that nonsense, basically we take the best of your hatred and we put it together into a beautiful musical montage, which my producer now will play for you. Enjoy. So my personal favourite was being told to kill myself. Always nice to get that. And as I said, why doesn't he ask, why haven't you killed yourself? Which is a very good question and one I ask myself every fucking day. Anyway, the thing that I want to talk about, just before we move on, we are really going to do the calls, I promise. We're really going to do the calls. But yeah, anyway, right, there was some guy, like, the amount of super fucking weird virgins that just crawl out the woodwork every time I tweet something or post something is like... It's over 9,000. You use language those freaks would understand. So, Gareth, can you do me the favour and bring up, that Imgur image that I linked you to? Could we get that? That'd be fantastic. I'm going to try and bring it up on my screen as well. So, there we go. That should be. I did bookmark it because it's a cracker. So, just let me know when it's up and the people can see it. Right. Okay. So, I want you to take a look at this. What this is some guy who didn't like what I said, because I disagreed with him, basically took a screenshot of my entire Reddit history, and there's some cracking abuse in there. I do recommend you have a read, because, I don't pull my punches. I fucking hate idiots, and they're everywhere in esports. So, but I'm not here to blow myself like I'm the world's best flamer. But let's just have a look. If you look in the red writing on the side, he's done this little fucking summary. And what he created this image for was he created this image and was circulating around the internet thinking this will get him fired. Now, bear in mind, my bosses get about 3 emails a day requesting I'm fired. I mean, that's no exaggeration. I was just down there having our sort of annual general meeting. And fucking, it's down to 3 a day from like 5 a day. So anyway, if you just look at the red writing, on Reddit as ESH Richard Lewis is starting hostile conversations in the name of cadred.org on the basis that everyone is right and he is wrong, which that's the fucking wrong way round, by the way, because why would I do that? Why would I say everyone's right and I'm wrong? Why the fuck would I be arguing that? Anyway, and now we all owe him an apology. The thread was posted at 6 a.m. PST, and at 7 a.m., he angrily calls out Travis for not coming forward yet and acknowledging that Travis didn't actually know what he's talking about. Travis doesn't know what anyone's fucking talking about. Guy's a fucking douche. Anyway, while Travis is still sleeping, like, how dare I talk about Travis while he's sleeping? I try to tell the guy to calm down and that he is only hurting himself and Cadre with his whiny and egotistical comments, only to get a reply saying, I need to get fucked. Which... I think that's fair. I honestly think that guy does need to get fucked in more ways than one. Seriously, who the fuck is this guy? Anyway, if you see anyone like this, my advice to you is to fucking just call their parents or something, because they got real problems. And I want to say, if you are one of these people, it's important you know this right off the fucking bat. An Imgur image will never get anyone fired. You're not going to get anyone fired. You can waste your time. I'm not going to get fired. I'm not going to get fired for having a different opinion to you. You can make all the fucking images. You could get an image of me with my gaping asshole. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to get fired for it. It's just not going to happen, all right? Like, do whatever the fuck you feel you need to do, but it's not going to work. You're just wasting your time. Why not contribute to something fucking positive? What are you people fucking... What are you thinking? What are you thinking? Anyway... Enough of that bullshit. That's the freaks I got to deal with. Now let's deal with some new freaks, our callers. Right, who have we got first, Gareth?
We've got Ben, and he wanted to talk about StarCraft dying in Korea.
I got a feeling I know who this Ben is. Is this Ben Hedworth by any chance?
Hello!
There we go. Are you the guy who made that image? Was that you?
It was. It's the esports equivalent of telling somebody's mum.
I know, it's pathetic, isn't it?
It's like, fucking, some kid stole my Pokemon cards when I was younger. Nobody got bollocked for that. So why do people think you're going to get told off? And so what, Imgur? I've been calling it Imager this whole time.
Well, mate, I'm an old man. I don't know what the fuck anything's called. It is meant to be pronounced Imager, but, I don't know what anything's called, do I? I don't call it the computer, I call it the hard drive.
It's
whatever.
one of those things you don't ever have to pronounce in front of other people. I mean,
Yeah.
if I had to say that in a conversation with somebody in real life, I'd probably be questioning.
Or in my case, like the word sorry. So anyway, right, what have you got for me, Ben? Your calls are always good, so you come with a big weighty reputation. What have you got for us this week?
I don't like you emphasising the word big there. I'm sorry, I know I'm a little larger, Okay, but
You're slimmer than me, dude.
yeah, it's true. It's true. But
So what's on your mind?
what is on my mind? It's a good question. A lot of stuff. I'm picturing you in those glasses. That is definitely on my mind. That is some sexy, sexy shit.
Well,
Like
I'll
the
tell you,
fat
man.
Walter White. Anyway, so a little bit of StarCraft because I don't know anything else, and I want to talk about this doom and gloom, StarCraft in Korea going down, and I don't care. Like, there's so many people. You know, MKP moved over to LoL, right? And that was kind of a big thing because MKP was one of these, 2011/12 stars with the fucking funny glasses, right? And everyone that was, a big move sort of thing. And StarCraft in Korea is good, and I do appreciate they really push that game and make it. You can tell the difference between a Korean StarCraft game and something that comes out of the NA scene. But what I want to sort of trash talk is the fact that why the fuck does anyone care that StarCraft in Korea is going downwards? Like, what is it actually bringing? Let's have a look at the Korean players. Now, yeah, somebody might not agree with me, but they're so fucking boring. Like, they seem to be void of all personality, right? You see a Korean like wobble out onto a stage and it's, Hong doi hoi hoi, and it's like he says he is happy for winning the game.
I can't help but feel we're getting borderline racist here, Ben. But okay, I'm going to allow it. It is trash talk.
That was Korean.
Oh, all right. Maybe
was.
I'm the racist then.
Get the translators in the comment. They'll tell you exactly what I said.
Okay.
So anyway, I feel that the Korean scene, they bring the better game. They bring a better viewing experience. But when it comes to community, like figures and like cool people, I feel like the community instills all this fucking personality into them. Like Hyun, a great player and stuff. Like, I've met the guy and I'm on the same team. I do some shit for Quantic every now and then. Nice guy. I'm not saying he's void of all personality, but that language barrier, if you don't know Korean, it does
like
kind
you.
of affect that. Fuck. Anyway, so, but this whole thing, like with Hyun's special trousers and stuff, like, if anyone else wore that, it would be like, oh, funny joke for that event, but because there's nothing else really going for these Korean players in terms of personality, these small things that happen get blown like, whoa, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen. And I feel like the community instills a lot of the personality into the Korean players, just because, everyone else is a bit shit at StarCraft. And I think, it's not that Koreans don't have personality at all, because if you look at the Brood War scene, you have people like Firebat Hero and the others, and the stupid, crazy, like Hyun actually, he was a madman when it came to celebrations and stuff, but it seems like that passion and the BM and the craziness kind of died out with Brood War. It's like the passion, left with the fans, and you're left with this sort of game that, everyone, this is cool to watch, but it's not quite the old stuff. The Korean players just didn't really care anymore. And it feels like when I watch events and stuff and they come out and they thank, for fucking missing, they thank the event organizers and their teams and the crowd watching the games and stuff, and they win the money and they go home and stuff. It's like, do you really care that much? Do you actually care that this was in, somewhere in America or Europe or whatever? Like, I don't feel they care as much as they would care if it was in Korea on the home turf. Now, I think anyone would say that, but like, it's hard to read, right? Maybe they do care, but it is really hard to read. So, with StarCraft dying in Korea and all this sort of stuff, what are we really missing out on? Apart from the better games, like.
I think there's to pick up on the first part of what you're talking about before we get to StarCraft dying in Korea. The idea that Koreans, like say, these kind of vanilla personalities, you're absolutely right. If you were to go out and see how they were rolling in Korea itself, as you rightly pointed out, lots of examples. They can be flamboyant, they can be the entertainers because that language barrier isn't there, and I feel it's a bit more appreciated. Something happened between Brood War, with its kind of like awesome flamboyance and pinnacle of esports tag in Korea, and StarCraft 2 coming out, and now when you couple the language barrier to this prevailing ethos in esports that to be professional you have to have no opinion, you have to have no You can't have anything that distinguishes you from anyone else. You can't trash talk anyone. You can't fucking, everything you do has got to be the most vanilla, bland way of executing it. So it's handshakes at the end. Like, you can't even refuse a handshake. Like, maybe you don't want to shake a dude's hand. Like, I don't think it's necessarily a prerequisite. Depends how you feel about the person individually. If you're,
I've seen a lot of those sweaty nerds. I honestly wouldn't touch them.
Well, yeah, that too.
It's disgusting.
But I mean, if you don't like the dude, or you think he fucking cheesed you and like you got fucking ripped off, maybe you don't want to shake his hand. Like, I don't think that should be a big deal. I don't think that should be at the top of Reddit. And the community has a way of effectively driving anyone with a personality out of it, and then we sit around and talk about going how fucking bland and boring everyone is. So there's that. But also, I think the language barrier is fucking huge. And if you look at the Koreans that have got, broken through that barrier, guys like Violet, people like that, they are having, a real good go of it, making themselves very well appreciated in non-Korean circles. They've got huge fan bases because of it. Now, I'm not saying I don't want to be that guy. Like, I don't want to be like you and come out and do the fucking Fu Manchu impression to get on like good grounds with our Asian friends. I mean, like, I'm straight up saying English is a terrible fucking language to have to learn anyway, full of all sorts of fucking ridiculous flaws and foibles and quirks and unique twists that only English has. It's not very logical when you try and explain it to people how things work. And Koreans, I mean, it's so far removed from what an Asian language is based on. To learn it is exceptionally hard, and mad respect to any of the Koreans who do learn it. But unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be any middle ground, because we're pushing now to be more and more about English broadcasting and esports, even from the Korean side of things. And I think it is about the language barrier more than anything else. And I think for players to really be appreciated universally, unfortunately, they're going to have to express themselves in English. And I think that's going to take some time, because Koreans aren't going to be used to that. It's always been, I can be who I am in Korea, and when I go abroad, it's best to kind of be insular because you don't know what you're going to get. I mean, that's a cultural thing anyway. So I think that's an issue. Now, in terms of the game dying, and it dying in Korea, like, are we losing anything? Like, here's the thing. If, in the short term, I reckon it would feel like StarCraft 2 got a shot in the arm. Like, if you just eradicated all Koreans from playing the game, and Naniwa was winning, and everyone would feel good about it for like 5 weeks. But then the glitz and the glamour would have gone, the prestige would have gone, the status would have gone, and in 6 months, no one can be asked anymore, and everyone, be they Korean or otherwise, is playing League of Legends.
I see where you're coming from. I just want to come out and say that I don't think Koreans are like, there's great personalities in the West and all the Asian people are boring and bland. Some of the kids in the NA scene, and especially because for some reason Americans just, they can't. They either do this like, hey, I've got a personality, or they're like, boo-hoo. There's a lot of fucking retards out there. So it's not just Koreans generally, right? So I want to come out and say that. And I do agree with you. Like, the Korean scene does bring the pinnacle of StarCraft. They push it, and because of the training regimes and the fact that there are people playing 12 hours a day, so other people play 12 hours a day, and then that just fucking balls up, and it becomes amazing. But in terms of how long it will last, I don't know if I agree as much, because I feel like it would be weird, because maybe if we eliminated Korea from ever being there, and it was sort of like a Western esport that never picked up, would the game have lasted this long? Would it have more of a deep sort of structure to it, and it could last a lot longer? Because every time I watch a tournament at the end and the Korean wins, or the top 3 are Korean, the top 5 are Korean, or whatever, and you do get people like Naniwa who get up there really well and stuff, it is the same old comment of Koreans getting boring, all this sort of stuff. So I understand the prestige of when somebody like that is just news, that creates news. When you hear that some foreigners come up, beat this Korean, this Korean, this Korean, and then nearly beaten that really good Korean, that's fantastic. But in terms of how much that brings to the scene, I don't feel like it's enough that it supports the entire thing and makes it popular and not popular. But I don't know.
So,
What,
I mean, no, don't ask me what I think, Ben. I want to know what you think. So, come on, be honest. Do we lose anything if all the Koreans go and play League of Legends? I mean, and they all join, Marine King Prime. Have we really lost anything? That was how you started the call. So you tell me.
I'm thinking about it, and I still think, apart from the prestige element and the fact that the game will develop slower, I feel like, because of the training regimes, the strategies, and the meta game develops far quicker, purely because of that. If, like 80% of the Koreans dropped out, which I reckon, this time next year wouldn't be a surprising figure whatsoever. I can't see what we're losing. I mean, yeah, that's all I'm saying. I don't feel like we lose that much at all. We've got as good broadcasts over here. We've got good players, and I think that would definitely ignite and spark this sort of passion and drive within the Western scene, especially in NA. They're really down in the dumps. Whenever you hear about any NA personalities, they're always complaining of how the American scene has no drive, or there's nothing to get excited about. There's nothing for the lower tier players. So if you get rid of the top end of StarCraft, people suddenly think, actually, I've got a shot at this because there's only 3 Koreans in this tournament.
My counterpoint to that would be there's a lot more interest. I mean, this is just speaking personally. There's a lot more interest in me trying to scale a mountain than there is trying to fucking waddle up a hill. If you take out the entire top tier of any competitive scene, I'd be more inclined to think, well, game's dead. What's the point? And I think, while there'd be a few people who might revel in it in the short term, Idra or InControl or whoever in North America, finally they can get back to placing top 3, or rather they can place top 3. They'd probably enjoy it. But it would last. That novelty would last all of 3 weeks before everyone was like, "Well, I'm a sponsor with a shitload of money. I'm going to sponsor a fucking game that's actually got something that's going to get bums on seats, and get people excited again." And just to pick up on another point before I kick you off the call, and also got to say thank you for doing a creepy white voice as well, just to balance it out. Right? You've saved us from being taken off air, but you've got to understand that you can appreciate an esports personality for a lot more than just their skills on the server. A lot more for the personality. Skills on the server is a huge thing. So, I mean, like, if you're a hilarious, outspoken dude, brilliant. But if you can't play, that's only got so much appeal. By the same token, if I want to watch a top player play, I won't necessarily be watching the same guy who's going to tell me jokes and keep me amused throughout because, I want to learn something. I think there's a balance there, and I think there's room for both. I think all it is it's about bridging gaps, and what we need to do is, which is interesting because everyone's talking about region locking right now. I still think that is a step forward for the game, yeah. But I think we need to bridge gaps, like cultural divides, and we need to have, we need to lift the veil a bit on what happens in Korea, so we have a better understanding over here. How do they do things? We should be doing like cultural exchanges, like having tournaments held out there, but run by like a DreamHack or someone, and they run a tournament in Europe, and we all try and fucking, build some bridges and get together a little bit more so we can all understand where we're all coming from, like rather than eyeing up, each one with a bunch of stereotypes and suspicion. But anyway, Ben, it's been a wonderful call. Yeah, great, and thanks for being the first one. So you've set the ball rolling. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day, evening, and no doubt I'll hear from you again some point in the week.
I'm off to eat some food because I'm fat. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Peace. So there was Ben. Went all around the houses a bit, that one, but I think the main point he was making was to ask the question, would we actually lose anything if the Koreans were removed from StarCraft? I think we would. Not least of all, in many ways, the foundations of it all. But maybe you disagree. Maybe you think that's the answer. Maybe you think, if they all go and play LOL, we can claim the game for ourselves and then invite them back at a later date, like, colonialists or whatever the fuck. Like, I don't know. But it seems a bit odd. I can't picture a StarCraft without Koreans being at the top of it. I think that's just something we got to get used to. And at the end of the day, if you can't fucking beat them, that's on you. The means are out there. Practice harder, work harder, just keep going. It's not like it's impossible. And Naniwa's shown recently just how possible it is. It came so close. Again, great final at IM New York. So anyway, if you want to call in, our Trash Talk TV to your Skype. Gareth, we're going to take one more call before we have a break. Who've we got?
We've got a guy called Shibble, and he wants to talk about the issues of the CSGO scene, well, the UK CSGO scene having short-lived lineups and the factors it's boiled down to.
Okay, well, interesting. Right, so we're talking about UK Counter-Strike. Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, you sound fantastic.
That's good. Sorry, is my mic still fucked? I tried to fix it earlier. I had to reinstall Skype.
Fine.
Okay. So let's do it then, Shibble. You want to talk about UK Counter-Strike. Now, bear in mind, there's a chance that my eyeball's going to roll up into my head and I might start drooling. But I've been talking about this for fucking what? Since 2005. Right. So
I'm extremely familiar with the feeling myself.
Right. So come on, lay it on me, brother. What the fuck is up with UK Counter-Strike?
So obviously we've had a lot of stuff with like nations playing against each other, and there's been captains and people forming teams and stuff. And I noticed that there seemed to be quite a lot of flexibility and variety with where these players are actually coming from, and it just reminded me of like just so many numerous lineups that we've seen for Counter-Strike, and it made me think of obviously the UK Plague. And I came from 1.6 myself before I swapped over to CSGO, and I feel like anybody who actually came from that community, we've kind of seen a couple of things that at least can give us some perspective on what we can take from CSGO with lineup issues. And obviously, people seem to be like extremely willing to be fleeting and just move over to another team. But if the one thing I got from 1.6, when we looked at 2011 with Navi and DSC Gaming in particular, the one thing that stood out about these two teams was, despite any issues they had, they managed to like stick together and stuff. And I keep seeing like the same names pop up and stuff with like obviously Rattlesnake as an example, and a couple of other people. Yeah. And it seems like, at least on paper to me, that the UK has everything available to them in terms of like practicing, improving that just any other country does. But we just seem to be running into the same problems, and I don't know if it's something to do with like personality, like culturally, or something like that.
Well, look, right. Let's fucking call it what it is, right? In the UK, we've got a very unique mindset when it comes to esports. And I've said this before, and people deny it. It's the same reason why there's so many people in the UK on fucking steroids and shit, right? Just because they can't handle going to a LAN and getting called fat. That's how fucking macho they are, right? So let's call it what it is, right? In the UK, the prevailing mindset in UK esports is, I want to win with as little effort as possible, because if you put in a lot of effort, you're a virgin, and I'm too cool for that. So it's all about quick fixes. It's basically about, we want to be the best in esports, but we're too cool for esports and too cool to try to be good at esports, but we play and exist in esports. It's kind of similar to what you get in America. It's like the way in League of Legends, the conjoined word try hard has become an insult. Like, why the fuck wouldn't you try hard? Like, I don't get it. But anyway, so, yeah. I mean, so this is the problem in the UK scene. It's like, what they try and do is, they try and get the 5 best players who are the best without practice into a team, and then they don't practice, safe in the knowledge that when it goes wrong, they can just say, hey, we didn't practice. And even though they've lost the tournament and lost the sponsorship that they got, they can turn around and say, oh, well, fuck it, at least we're still cool. At least we still get laid. Booyah! And that's especially true in the Counter-Strike scene. And then they all go back to fucking filling themselves full of juice and taking photos of themselves flexing. Like, it makes it, yeah. Honestly, it's pathetic. Yeah. It's the fucking lamest treehouse I've ever been a part of.
It's almost like out of every possible country that could play Counter-Strike, we seem to be the one that's most familiar with like a consumerist mentality. It seems to be just like pure priority on like short-term versus long-term fulfillment. And it just seems so alien to me how it can keep occurring over and over again, because even though we do see a couple of regular names, there is like quite a lot of people out there who obviously do spend a lot of time on Counter-Strike, and it makes me think that the UK scene just by itself seems to be sitting on the fence, where they want to be really good at it, they want to excel, but at the same time it's almost like they associate like a massive feeling of shame with losing or something, so they've always got a fallback plan as an excuse, as opposed to just actually like committing to it. I mean, you never really see like Navi complaining or something on Counter-Strike when they had like a couple of losing streaks to SK on 1-6, or even NiP now when they've lost to Very Games and AD recently.
Yeah, I mean, I think slight difference. I mean, in 1.6, I wouldn't compare it because you can have a losing streak and still be getting paid $25,000 between the tournament.
Very true.
You have a losing streak in fucking Counter-Strike and you're getting third place. It's back to the old £500 of PC World vouchers and go for yourself. So it's not quite the same. But all the more, I think almost in a way, that lack of glitz and glamour in CSS, the fact that it is a sub-tier esports for so long, and CSGO up until recently has been that way as well, that should drive you on to want to be the best. Like, if you don't want to be the best, like, what's the fucking point? You're not going to get paid, you're not going to make any money, you're not going to have any status. Like, I mean, all of these websites, like the amount of websites that people were setting up, like, do you want lessons from a Counter-Strike pro? Like, and pay £15 for 2 hours on an AIM server with a fucking guy who thinks you're a douchebag and is just taking your money. I don't understand that. But all of those businesses just went bust. Like, players just realized there was no money in it. Like, no one really gives a fuck. Like, the casual game is pretty much what props up the pro Counter-Strike scene. Like, 1.6 was obviously a game changer in terms of esports. I'm not sure where CSGO is. I'm not sure if you throw more prize money at a tournament, you make it any more glamorous or any more relevant to the current generation of gamer. And the only way that's going to change is by, everyone's got to fucking come together and put the collective effort in, right? That's shoutcasters, like, stop being a shit shoutcaster. Like, just stop it, man. Like, if you suck, work hard not to suck. And if you're working your very hardest and you still suck, just fuck off. Like, just do something else, dude, because you're not helping. Vying for, like, the 5 contracts a year that get bandied about. Sorry, go on. No, sorry, I was mid-rant.
It's fine.
Okay. You're allowed.
Funnily enough, if somebody carries on shoutcasting when they're still shit and they put no effort in, isn't that exactly the same thing that's happening with the Counter-Strike scene in the UK now?
Yeah, but this is what I mean. This is what happens in general.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, people aren't good enough across the board. They're not good enough at running events. They're not good enough at casting events. They're not good enough at playing at the events. They're not good enough at running the teams and getting the teams to the events. They're not good enough at paying out prize money, yet they persevere, and everyone allows them to persevere. Like, how many chances can you possibly have? Counter-Strike is like, I mean, people use the term last chance saloon. Counter-Strike just is the fucking permanent last chance saloon. I hear about players retiring every 5 minutes. I hear about, casters, I'm going to quit. Hey, I'm back 'cause there's a payday. It's bullshit. Like, no one has any fucking pride in the scene at all, and no pride in themselves. Like, sometimes you've just got to walk away and just be honest with yourself. And I think people don't do it. And that's no disrespect to the fucking, people who are trying to come up. Some people are going to work their nuts off and just not be good enough. That's cool, man. And some people are going to work their nuts off and, like, you know what? Getting 6th at this event is the best we can ever hope for. And if we go out and do that, awesome. And that's great, too, because you've set yourself a goal and you're working towards it. But what happens is you've got too much deadwood at the top that don't want to work. They think they're owed something because, hey, I played the game for 9 years, so I'm owed a payday, right? Because I played a game for 9 years. Give me a payday. And they're going to keep coming to events, and they're going to keep playing in these events. And organizations, I mean, they're the real dumb motherfuckers. Like, no joke. Like, you're an organization and you think, I want to send a team to LAN. Why not pick up some fucking new guys? Why not pick up a foreign team? Why not pay for, like, that Romanian team who fucking default everybody? They were called Madoni. Who the fuck are they now anyway? Right? Why not pay for My Revenge Romania to come to an event and see how they do when they can't default motherfuckers? They'll probably finish higher than the UK guys anyway, and it'll be fucking funny. Why not do that?
Another interesting thing about that as well, obviously it's a unique and rare case, but when there was that mixed team Nostalgia, obviously we were put together by Overdrive, who was like swims in cash in his jacuzzi, but just because of how much variety there was in that team, and obviously they weren't very familiar with each other. I mean, half the team couldn't even fucking speak with each other, but the exposure that team got, if they were being picked up for a LAN by a random org or something, or people in the same scenario, it'd be really good press for the organisation as well, but something needs to change for definite.
Yeah, look, man, for me, I just don't get why we can't just, like, etch-a-sketch this whole thing. Because, like, here's the saddest part about it, man. Here's the real sad thing about it. This 250k tournament's going to bring every 2-bit slag out of the woodwork, right? Like, I mean, there's no other way to describe it. Like, EG doing their tweets. Hey, guys, we might be coming back to Counter-Strike. What do you all think? Love us, love us. Like our Facebook, and maybe we'll send it. Fuck off. You're going to send a team anyway because you get 10% of 250K. All of a sudden, it's worth entering a team if they win it. Right? And all of these organizations that want to be affiliated with something big in esports for cheap publicity, they ain't going to be there if there isn't another one of those, which is why I've said all along, Valve should be making a tour. It should be a tour of events that you have to buy into, like what it is with League of Legends, a season, not just a one-off event. I know Valve like that, but until it's, even if it was 2.6 million, the amount's not the point. The amount is like, you're not encouraging any infrastructure in the scene. You're not encouraging any long-term building in the scene, and that, is it any wonder then that ethos trickles down to the players? It's fucking disgusting. So, what's your take on it then? Do you play?
I've actually played Counter-Strike since the beta before Steam was around.
Right.
But
so back when the M4 had the scope and shit, right?
Yeah, that fucking thing. But as far as like you said about people feeling like they're owed something, regardless of like how much time you've played, there's the bare fundamentals that you pick up that you expand from. They can be attained in a relatively short amount of time compared to like 9 or 10 years. So a lot of this entitlement that people feel they have, I don't quite fully understand how they've got that. Because it seems to be built on a faulty foundation. I mean, I've been reading a book recently called Mastery by a guy called George Leonard. Right. And it's to do with learning curves, plateaus, and like key things to assess whilst you're actually like going on this path. And one of the things it talks about is these plateaus, or I guess you'd call them valleys, with the peaks and valleys concept. It says like no matter how passionate you are about something and how much time you put into it, there's going to be times where you're going to get stuck, regardless of how intelligent you are. Yeah. And it's mainly to do in particular with adjusting and adapting, kind of like if you've had a habit for several years of your life and then you just decide to nail it on the head. There's going to be some difficulty and resistance from your own brain, and you kind of just have to understand that and not dwell in negativity. But when we seem to have obviously these valleys with UK CS, I think it seems to be like a growing issue, but I think that you covered most of that, to be honest.
Look, man, here's the thing. Counter-Strike, like, honestly, it just fucking nauseates me now. Like, it's... Yeah. Honestly, every time I go back into it, it's like... Well, I don't know. It's like it's like having chemotherapy or something. It's just so traumatic and fucked up on the body, like, every time I have to deal with it. Because everyone in it's a selfish fucking idiot, like, really blinkered, short-sighted. The community don't deserve a fucking thing. I mean, maybe that's changing, but like the community's the worst in esports. Yeah. And if you think about it, I get death threats from butthurt League of Legends fans on a daily basis. They're still a million times better than the Counter-Strike community, like a million times. That fucking douchebag we did a spotlight on at the start, like he's a legend compared to anyone from Counter-Strike, So like the community really needs to fucking get its act together. And this 250K tournament could be a good platform to do it. But what I think is the organizations who haven't got a long-term vested interest in CSGO are effectively going to bastardize it and cheapen it. And I think, like the only people right now who are taking CSGO seriously and treating it with a modicum of professionalism, probably a NIP, obviously, and Very Games.
I'd agree.
If any other team but those two didn't win it, it would be a fucking travesty. A travesty for the esport. But anyway, so it was fun to take a trip down memory lane and talk about UK Counter-Strike. So thanks a lot for calling in, brother. And like I say, go on, shout out. You must be in a team. What's the name of your team? I'll watch you. I'll monitor you. I'll follow your career with interest. Come on, tell me.
My team that I'm playing for has been disbanded recently, but I've been playing with a couple of people from UK. I used to play with some of on-screen's friends on 1.6, but I've not really been doing much with them at the moment. I'm sat around like Master Guardian Elite at the moment, so I've got a long way to go, but I'm just trying to stay positive, if anything, and just stick to it.
Master Guardian Elite, right? Well, look, man, next time you're down a club and you're talking to some fit fucking bird, you just tell her that you're Master Guardian Elite, and I'm sure those panties are going to fucking drop. Believe. Anyway, look, it's been great talking to you, Shibble. Thanks a lot for calling in, yeah?
You too, Rich. Take care.
All right. Yeah, all the best, man. Catch you later. So there you go, Shibble, the Master Guardian Elite. Look, man, we all know Counter-Strike's fucked. It's fucked on so many levels. It's terrifying in a way. And it's limping along Look, it's my first serious esport. I got a lot of love for Counter-Strike. I would love it to do well. I would love it to come out of the doldrums that it's in. I don't think anyone's taking it serious. I think people are looking to appropriate a one-off big payday to get their fucking name up in lights temporarily, which is the standard esports model. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Counter-Strike can have a future, but I don't see it as it is right now. And the numbers are growing. I saw, what was it, 1.2 million active players the other day. This could be a great game, and it could have a great competitive scene to go alongside of that casual game that we love so much. Anyway, so if you've got more thoughts about that, do call in. We're going to take a quick break. To call in, add Trash Talk TV to your Skype. I see a few people asking in there. Big numbers tonight for our show, 444. Go you guys. I'm sure most of you were just tuning in because you were expecting it to be a fucking car crash, which it probably has been. But anyway, we'll be back in 2 minutes. I'm just going to go get some medication to help me calm down and carry on with the show. See you in a bit. All right, we're back. So we were having a break. The medication thing's not too much of a lie. I'm fucking running a ridiculous fever. I think it's all this esports anger I got bottled up inside of me. It's just overwhelming me. It's just fucking eating me from the inside out lately. But anyway, that's what this show's for. It's catharsis, not just for you guys, but for me as well. And we're now going to talk about some League of Legends. I know that's the moment you've all been waiting for, guys. So, Gareth, tell us about the next caller.
Okay, so his name's Mr. Truth, and he wants to talk about how crap the Season 3 championships were for League. That was his wording, so...
Ooh, Mr. Truth, could this be a troll? I don't know. I'm hoping so.
I was
Let's
thinking
see.
this.
Right, Mr. Truth with an F. Can you hear me, brother?
I can hear you. Hello.
Hey, how's it going, man? So I've been waiting on the first troll call. Like, it hasn't happened on the show yet. We're 8 episodes in. You're called Mr. Truth. Is this a troll call?
No. I've watched all your shows on YouTube. I'm a real big fan.
Thanks a lot, brother. Well, cheers for calling in. So, right, you wanted to talk about the League of Legends World Finals and how it was, sorry, I've got mic crackled. That's my bad, guys. I just kicked the wire. Look, it's going to be fine now. See, relax. Anyway, I was kind of underwhelmed myself. I watched it and I was like, I thought as a broadcast it was good. The game sucked. I don't think you can blame LoL too much for that, but the ending, the fucking ending was like
Oh my god.
some of the most embarrassing shit, right? So come on, what was your take on it? I gotta hear this.
Okay, so right, the games were crap. I mean, you can't do anything about that. I mean, you don't have any control over, a role. And you saw that in StarCraft in the GSL. I mean, it was like roles, 5-0 like every single time they played. So you can't deal with that. But in the start was something for me. Like, I understand that esports is trying to get to this point where it's exactly like sports. You've got like your Super Bowl like pre-show and everything. But last year they did it so much better. They have like the orchestral thing. They play the theme. They get it over with, and they get to the games. This time they had like the guy who comes out like a mix between Slipknot and a Light Bright playing the guitar, and it's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And they've got the people on the synth. What was their name? Crystal something.
Crystal Method, not to be confused.
Well,
with, Crystal Meth.
Yeah. The only casualty of Y2K was Crystal Meth's career. Like it was just horrible. And I was so confused by it all. Like I went to the grocery store to get snacks, and that was more entertaining than the freaking beginning. And luckily, it was so long when I came back that the beginning was over already. So it was a miracle. Then I watched these lackluster games, which I watched them all, even though they were complete fucking shit stomps.
Yeah.
And then we get to the end, and they bring them out like immediately after. They sit next to the cup, like after a delay, after they throw it to the girl on stage. And here they roll out the first place people. Where's the second place people? Nowhere. Of course. Why would they get any recognition at all? They're only second place, second place in the world.
In the world. Fuck you.
No big deal. Go fly
Fuck
back
you.
home to
Second
China.
is nothing. I like it. It's like fucking what's it? Talladega Nights. If you ain't fucking first, you're fucking last. I love it. Like
I thought it was hilarious, but it's like at least then you could give a really good ceremony for the winners. But here comes Brandon Beck and Mark Merrow. And Brandon Beck talks like his fucking Lamborghini's lights are on outside. And he has to get out immediately. Like, like he walked up there, he said like 3 sentences. 3 fucking sentences. And then just gets out. It was the most depressing thing I've ever seen. Like, here you have this company that's making millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. And they did so well last time. And this time, they're just doing absolutely shit. And
Look,
you can tell.
Go on. Sorry.
That they're just leaning towards the masses now. You see that they're releasing the old skins that they were like, well, these will never come back because we value our old players. We value that they used to play with us. And now they throw them out, like cheap whores to get more money. Like you could see the same thing happening to Riot that happened to companies like Blizzard, where it just starts leaning towards more money and investors. I mean, I know they've got China venture capital in their company, but like at least they had some dignity before. But I think this is just the sign of shit hitting the fan,
Right. Okay, so I'm going to play some devil's advocate, right? Just on the first point about the Wes Borland thing, obviously, like, he always dresses, like, fucking weird anyway, so, just, yeah.
Right.
I mean,
sure, I won't hate.
Yeah, I don't think Riot made him dress up like that. He probably sits around in his living room drinking cups of tea, dressed like that. That's just his thing. Right, let's talk about, and like I say, the games, we admit you can't do anything about that. Now, the stuff at the beginning, all the manga animation and as well, all of that stuff, and like trying to hype the crowd up, I actually thought was really fucking cool.
I thought they did like a pretty good job, but I don't know. Maybe the show wasn't for me. But also, no offense to the European people, but that guy with the eyebrow piercing, I don't know. I can't stand him. I don't know if anyone else agrees with me, but get rid of your. There's this fucking caster with an eyebrow piercing. Step one, if you want to look professional, get rid of your fucking eyebrow piercing, man. You can't wear a suit and a dress shirt and have an eyebrow piercing and expect anybody to take you fucking seriously. Yeah, quick shot. Thank you, Chad.
Oh man, don't be ripping on my boy Trev. Right, I've got to. No, look, I tell you what, right. I fucking love Trevor, man. I go way back with him, and he's South African, and I know maybe that allows him to wear a suit and an eyebrow piercing. I can't say anything bad about him. I can't. Like, he'd fucking kill me. But I tell you what, I'm going to indulge your right to say something bad about him. So in general, to make a general point, should shoutcasters always look super smart and super professional? I know, I think that's a little bit lame, to be honest. But
no, I agree with you. Like, you don't have to look like you're a freaking like blue collar, clean cut guy. But I don't know. It's nothing like personal. It's nothing like serious. But I think I just have a personal vendetta against him.
That's okay. That's fine, right? So now let's move to the bit that gets interesting. This is the bit I definitely want to talk about, and that is the ending, the end fucking ceremony, because it was fucking atrocious. Look, I feel bad because seconds before your call, D-Man just retweeted the link to this show, which is like, it's like, I just hope no one thinks he's endorsing any of the things we talk about. Lee, I'm really sorry, brother. I didn't know. Give me the fucking check another time. This show's a write-off. So anyway, right, okay. So the ending was fucking bad, man. It was atrocious, right? I mean, like, for me, when your whole season builds up to like, these guys are the best in the world, make a fucking fuss about it. I want confetti, like, just fucking money. Fuck it, let's get some money. Make it rain. I want money to come down from the sky. I want fucking chicks to be fired up out of cannons and take a girl home you each and all that. Like Formula One, right? Champagne, fucking foaming on each other, just having a fucking wild time. You're the world champion, right? And then look, if you absolutely have to as a fucking CEO come out and hitch your wagon to their moment of success, which, let's be honest, you kind of have a right to do it. Again, I think it's a little bit lame myself. Like, let them have the moment, yeah? And then maybe you do a talk after when no one's listening. But if you have to hitch your wagon to it, like, fucking do it in a way which, as you astutely pointed out, it doesn't make you fucking look like you don't even want to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, and let's not forget as well, that trophy, it's too fucking heavy. It's too heavy. What's the point? If all five of them can't lift it, what is the fucking point? It's not badass. It's just stupid.
I'm pretty sure the wrist damage from Type A Assassins is what ended their career after lifting that thing up.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's why we never fucking saw him again, right? So anyway, so fix that. Come the fuck on with that stupid giant novelty cup, man. Like, just don't do that, right? You're better than that, right? So anyway, but then, and then, like you say, to not acknowledge the second place people, like, where was, like, I know, like, they had all this interactivity for people watching the stream. Where was the interactivity for the crowd? Like, why couldn't the crowd like cheer for, like, I don't know, the fucking MVP or something, like some special award? Yeah, just something. It just seemed really lackluster at the end, and it was a shame because as a broadcast, in terms of watching it from a TV perspective, I was watching that and I was thinking, this is as good as it's ever got broadcast-wise in esports. Like, straight up. Yeah. They treat it like it's a fucking NFL sportscast. They jump around seamlessly at the analyst desk. They got touch screens. They got fucking, slow motion. They got replays. They got facts dropping down from little boxes. It's fucking brilliant. And in that regard, it shits all over the international. But I was really hoping that this was going to be a massive, massive spectacle. And without the game being super exciting to prop it up, it actually did come across as like a backward step from the previous season. I got to agree with you.
Yeah, production-wise, you're right. Like, the broadcasting thing it's amazing. Like, everything with the analyst desk, with all the facts and everything. Like, even as somebody who's played League for a long time, like, I'm in Diamond, Like I still really enjoyed insight from
Nice.
people.
Work that one in there, eh? Work that one in.
Oh, let me stroke my dick for a second. Here. So
I mean,
yeah,
nice.
but I can actually enjoy it a little. Like instead of like maybe in like StarCraft, sometimes they have to pander to new players. Like back when I played StarCraft, and it was just so annoying to listen to this stuff over and over when I could hear something insightful. And it was great. The production from the stream and everything was great. But like you said, fuck man, you're rich. You're fucking rich. Like your company is so ridiculously filthy rich. Like why are you like throwing the like least exciting ceremony of all time? Like there was confetti, sure, but there was like nothing. I want to see fucking people punching each other in the face. I want to see shit going down. I want to see champagne, like you said. Like everything. I want to bring out the girls, bring out everything, Like seriously, it should be a fucking crazy, crazy celebration. Because the people just won, $1 million goddamn dollars. They're the best in the world. Like, just saying, like, I literally like less than a paragraph, and then like helping them lift up the trophy. What the fuck was that about? Like,
yeah, exactly. Like it's like that dude who used to creep into the Manchester United games and shit. Like, and just dress up with them and have his photo took, like, doing the old hover hand, like, round fucking players and shit. Like,
exactly.
I don't think, that's what I mean. Like, I don't think, no matter how much money you pump into something, you get to share in that moment. Now, I mean, there's some people were saying he had to stay there because they couldn't hold it. It was so big, they needed his additional strength.
Well, bullshit.
Like,
get a lighter trophy. It's ridiculous.
Exactly, that's what I say. But yeah, so I mean, look, well, what else? I mean, look, is there a tournament out there that you think Riot could like copy and emulate? Like, is there anyone out there they could learn from? Like someone who does it right, in your opinion? I'm guessing you're a big esports fan, right?
Yeah, sure. But I mean, it's like, fuck, man, they just copy themselves. Last year they did it right. How do you go backwards? Like that's what amazes me. I think like they just focus so much on the broadcasting and they just screw it up. I mean, as far as tournaments go, I think the international is up there, right? Like, I think it was really up there and probably better, skipped or spectacle-wise compared to this. But, like, just thinking of things off the top of my head, like all the StarCraft tournaments I've watched, like, none of them compare to this, right?
Yeah.
Like, just the stage they have is just incredible. Like, the bars they have for the champions, it blows my mind. Like, the stuff looks great. But I
actually thought All Stars was better than the World Finals.
Yeah, no, I agree with you and especially because the Chinese people were nuts. They went crazy. Like they were loud. You could really get excited for it. Like it was just I was really excited.
See it when they're allowed to use Google. They go they go super nuts.
When they aren't
kidding. Fuck you, China. Anyway, so yeah, look, no, I definitely agree with you, man. I mean, I've done a lot of shows with Robert Olin, who runs DreamHack, and he always says one of the beauty of esports is that the ceremonies are so awkward. Like they always make the guy who wins the tournament open a bottle of champagne, and of course, no esports kid knows how to do it, right? So they give him the thing, and that's it's like, honestly, it's just so awkward to watch. But he likes that, he revels in that awkwardness. He thinks that's something that makes it unique and brilliant. So I kind of agree with that, but I just think League of Legends, Riot, what they've done is they've kind of pinned so much prominence on we are the people who are making esports a legitimate sport. Now, if you're going to do that, have a legitimate fucking ceremony. It's the only conceivable way you can be taken seriously.
Like the whole esports venture too. I mean, they're throwing money in a fire pit, Like they're not making money doing the esports shit. Like if they wanted to make money, they would take all the esports crap, throw it out the window, and make nothing but skins all the time, Like,
which was another reason, because you talked about how they were pandering, trying to earn some money by bringing back those skins. I gotta say, like whatever Riot need to do to make money to still be here in 5 years, fucking do it, because I could think of nothing worse right now to esports if you rip Riot out of it. Holy shit. Like, there's probably a lot of people out there who'd be like, no, we'd fill that void. You fucking wouldn't fill that void. Like, Valve don't want to do it the Riot way. They've made that abundantly clear, although people are telling me I don't know enough about Valve's plans. I got an inkling or two. They don't want to do it the Riot way. And the way Riot do it is, for me, the best it's been in terms of having a regular season, something broadcastable, something that's most relatable to sports. Now, if they've got to basically get those old fucking skins, which are ugly anyway, like the new skins far eclipse anything they're doing in terms of artwork, if they've got to dredge them up and sell them to a bunch of fucking people who think they're going to be able to, like, oh, hey, I can be totally fucking cool now because people think I played 3 years ago instead of 1. Right? If that's what they need to do, it's still be here in 5 years. They got my blessing. Milk those motherfuckers.
Yeah, I understand that. Like, I can understand that perspective too. But it's just like, I mean, when you think of WoW, like when they started selling like mounts in the store, like I was like, that's when I knew that the game was like pretty much gone. And I just don't want like there's a difference between like cash grabbing so you can fund like good things, like their tournaments and stuff, and just cash grabbing because like Activision wants you to, or your investors want you to, or your shareholders want you to.
Yeah.
Like I agree with you. Like if they have to do something to stay afloat, sure, but I don't think Riot's struggling in the least. I don't think Riot is clawing their way out of the bucket.
I don't think they are, but we don't know. Like, I mean, I'm guessing Stalin style, they had some sort of 5-year plan, and we're getting quite a way into that now. It was 2009, wasn't it, when LoL came out? It's 2013, the end of. I mean, if they need to be self-sustaining, or if the money's not going to go into it, or they need this kind of product they've created to be marketable, maybe selling it to TV stations. I don't know what the next phase of Plan LOL is. I mean, I've also heard as well there's going to be, wasn't there a leak about them maybe making a new game soon, some League of Legends themed collectible card game?
Yeah, there was a leak about that. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Just in case I was having a stroke, like I never can tell. I might have imagined it, but so they've obviously got plans, and we don't know exactly where they're going to fucking be with it. So, like, if in the short term it's like you say, they got to fucking maybe money grab a little bit, then fuck it, because esports without LoL right now, I mean, like, a lot of people have been negative about them. And I understand that, Riot haven't always done great things as a company. There's no getting away from that. But the esports landscape right now without LoL and Riot in it is fucking bleak.
Yeah, it's just dead.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe StarCraft 2 would like it a little bit, because all the Koreans might come back and play. Although I don't know about that. But anyway, look, it's been great to get you to call in. I'm glad you're a fan of the show. It must be you. You're the fan. It's fucking
I'm the
great.
fan.
So thanks for watching all the vids and whatnot, and hopefully you'll call in again sometime, Mr. Truth. Have fun in Diamond until then, right?
Yeah, I'll try.
All right, cool. Thanks for your call, brother. Right, so there you go, Mr. Truth, dropping some truth bombs, talking about the League of Legends World Finals, and like I say, it was up and down for me, up and down, and it definitely didn't have the same allure and luster as All Stars. And I know we've got D-Man in there and in the chat, and he's promoting this. Sorry. I didn't know. I hope you don't get into trouble from Riot for retweeting something that was effectively critical of Riot or whatever. I don't know if they operate that way. Maybe they don't. Maybe they'll be okay about it. But delete the tweet, whatever. Like, just fuck, dude. I didn't want to ambush you, man. I feel so bad about that, because as you rightly say, you've known me a long time. Don't fucking. Why am I even apologizing for what a caller said? It was him. It's him you should be mad at. But also as well, Trev, I love your fucking eyebrow piercing. So don't ever change. You're beautiful. Right, so let's get another caller in. Who have we got, Gareth?
We've got Nelson, and he wants to talk about how Riot's sort of how can actually I'll read it word for word how he's put it. That would make it a bit easier.
I hope he's fucking more to the point than you, dude.
So do I. Otherwise, we're going to be here for years. Yep.
Yeah, fuck this.
All right. He said, with Riot's NA and EU LCS mirroring traditional sports, should they test for PEDs? So I guess enhancing drugs and stuff. So stimulants and whatnot.
What?
Yeah.
He wants really?
Yep.
He wants to talk about performance-enhancing drugs
Yeah.
in esports. Is this happening?
Yeah.
Okay, fuck it, man. It's trash talk. Let's do this shit.
And he's got a picture of Hector Salamanca as well as his display picture, which...
He's my new best friend. There's Hector. I might be on one of them machines soon, the way things are going. Right, Nelson, are you there, brother? Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, man. Right, so you want to talk about performance-enhancing drugs in
yeah.
esports?
All right. With like the way like Riot, like the EU and the NA LCS, it's like mirroring traditional like sports, like the layout of like the season, the athlete visas, even the venues like Staples Center and all that stuff. Like, would they now start testing the players for performance enhancing drugs like stimulants? I'm not talking about like steroids and stuff, like stimulants like ADD meds and stuff.
Right. Okay. Well, do you know what? Right. There's a lot of people laughing in the chat.
No, I mean like yeah. I mean like I know it sounds funny, but I mean like I mean people wouldn't be taking this if it didn't give you like.
No, dude, I've actually come across it in my time as an esports reporter. I have come across players, and I say, I was talking a little bit about steroid use earlier. Like, there's a lot of fucking, esports guys who take juice and use steroids, because, like, say they're insecure about looking fat. And I get it. When you've got like 30,000 fucking people like spamming your fucking Twitter feed saying you're a fat asshole, which happens to me, well, it's not 30,000, more like 300, but whatever, saying that you're a douchebag, you might be tempted to sort yourself out unless you're a lazy 30-year-old hack journalist, in which case you wouldn't give a fuck because your life's already over. So steroids is the one thing. The other thing, I come across this, I knew this Counter-Strike team, and they used to take beta blockers, right? They used to swear by beta blockers. Now, here's the thing, like, anyone medically knows, it's placebo, right? Anyone knows that you have to take beta blockers for a long period of time for it to get the benefit. But they used to pop, I don't even know where they were getting them from, but they used to pop beta blockers because they used to believe they would be relaxed and in, like, a trance-like state when the clutch was coming and the adrenaline wouldn't kick in. So people probably do this. I used to know another guy, I hope you won't mind, a guy I used to play with him called Ultimate Battle Jew. That was his gamer name. Counter-Strike player called Ultimate Battle Jew. And he couldn't play if he wasn't stoned. Like, he had to be stoned. Like, he used to get wrecked all the time. Like, if he didn't have red eyes, you knew you were going to lose the game. Like, you'd lost, like, straight up. So this, we did an article on it on Cadred a long time ago. We had a Russian writer, a guy called Atarvin. He went through all the different kinds of stimulants and drugs that people are taking in esports. So it's definitely real. It definitely exists. People will do things to get an edge. I just don't know if it's like a big enough problem for Riot to be taking Reggie to one side and saying, "Can you piss in this bottle, Reggie?"
Yeah, but like they can use it to like add legitimacy to it, because like they're going on ESPN now, right? And they can be like, yeah, we're playing in Staples and shit, and then we're having our players piss for us, and then we're like checking for shit, like, like it happens. It enhances. People say like it you're more focused, you're alert, and like you can go like long periods of time without like food or sleep, and like with the new LCS, they're like going back to back, like back to back days playing multiple hours, like. They might be able to use it to legitimize the LCS.
Right. So here's the next thing. Here's the next problem you've got. Right. Like, right. How many people flag like, and the first thing they say is, "Oh, I used a nasal spray, or I drank an energy drink, or like." Yeah. So there's all this shit, right, that out there that apparently has got like super performance enhancing shit in it that none of us know about until you accidentally happen to go on holiday and like, I don't know, you buy a suspicious looking like Red Bull from like some fucking corner shop and all of a sudden you're wired like. So I don't know, man. Like, what happens then? Like, what happens if again? Everyone's saying Dyrus is the example. So let's say they pull Dyrus over and Dyrus is like, "Fuck, dude. I don't even know what I ate this day."
Yeah.
Fuck, man. Like, and he can't answer what he had, and no one fucking knows. What happens then? Like, you can't just kick. Do you kick him out and you say, "Oh, fuck it, you failed a drugs test," And then what happens? Like, if one of the energy drinks that everyone's taking, like, in esports, everyone loves a bit of Monster, right? Everyone loves Monster. So let's say Monster had something in it that might show up. It probably doesn't, but if it did. Or if and then what do we call a banned substance anyway? Caffeine's a performance-enhancing drug to a certain degree.
Well, yeah. But I'm like say if they test for like certain drugs. Certain like ADD meds, like Ritalin or any of that shit. And like it might be pretty expensive, but fuck it, like make some skins and shit like to pay for it, like Crackhead Soda or some shit. Then have that like pay for it. Like, it's not cheap, but. You know, so shit like that. Like that. I guess that's what I'm trying to ask. Like Adderall and like Ritalin and fucking meth or some shit. You know, like.
Yeah, no,
Stuff like that.
I get it. I get it. I mean, I guess the place you have to start, and this for me, I'm not advocating this. Like I don't think this is a cool idea. But I guess the place you have to start is you have to start by saying, look, this is a professional sport. If you test positive for a illegal substance,
Okay, yeah.
right? Okay, so now all of a sudden it's like the people who are paying you your esports money, your riots, are saying we've got the right to piss test you on the tour, and if there's any weed or any coke or whatever the fuck in your urine, then you're off the tour. Now I don't like that. I don't like the sound of that. I don't.
Yeah,
like
no, neither do I. Neither do I. Like weed and all that stuff. I mean, like I guess like, I mean everybody has their own recreational drug, but I mean like stuff like that. I mean, yeah, I understand, but I mean
It's stuff like Adderall, like because
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, how do you say, okay, right, there's a legal pharmaceutical that can be obtained legally and illegally, depending. I mean, you might have attention deficit disorder, right, or whatever the fuck, so you might have it prescribed. I mean, that
yeah, but there
makes
are
sense.
medical exceptions. You know, like
Right.
like the the NCAA. They have like medical exceptions. You know, like you have to meet the criteria, and then they're like, all right, fuck it, like take them and go fuck off in the field or some shit. You know, like those are medical exceptions though.
Yeah, no, I get that, but here's the thing. Like, I mean, if you're exempt, but it's still giving you an advantage, then we get into the
Yeah,
whole
it's
area of is it
It's gonna
fair?
be like shit by everybody. Like this guy's only good because he's on fucking like Ritalin or like he's cracked out or some shit. Like
Yeah, exactly. So I just don't know. I think if you were going to have to bring it in, you have to bring it in stages. And unfortunately for me, the first stage, I mean, not unfortunately for me, because I'm clean living, brother, you know, like, but, you know, unfortunately, from a liberal point of view, it would have to involve the companies like Riot saying, well, we now dictate what you can put in your body. And I think there's enough people trying to do that shit out there. You know, even your bosses, like my friend works for a company, they can just drugs test him now. Like in 5 years, your employer will be able to like abseil down your wall, swing in through your window, inject you with a fucking syringe to knock you out while you're asleep, take you to a lab, fucking
get your shit out and all.
tickle your cat back, fucking run all sorts of searches on you, and then like do all tests on you. And if you test positive for anything even slightly fun, like a beer through the week, that's it. You're fired. I'm gonna get someone more reliable. Can't risk you coming into work with a hangover. That's where we're headed. Yeah. But now I'm starting to sound like Alex Jones. So I'm gonna wind back a little bit and bring it back to esports. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if it's feasible, man. I just don't know. It might not be a bad idea because, like as you rightly say, it adds legitimacy. We are trying to be like this, you know, a real sport. But I don't think. Well, put it this way: there's plenty to fix before we start thinking about what's in our cyber athletes' bloodstream.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree with that. I just brought up the topic because I mean I was in the same. I mean, like I thought the same thing. I was like asking myself the same questions. Like, what if somebody like takes it medically, you know, that stuff. But because I mean, shit, they can't even like manage like the money they give the people like, with like the team houses and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's. The
thing.
Like,
I guess like the priority. It's not like a priority right now.
Right. If I can't right send a fucking check out, right in 2 years, I don't want a dickhead like that in charge of my fucking blood results. Holy fuck! Like, what if I've got?
You're using that money to buy Adderall, man. I'm telling you, that's why Marn like didn't make it, dude. He spent it all on Adderall.
Well, I'm not getting into that, right? I've already got people threatening to sue me. You can take a lawsuit on the chin for me, brother. I'm probably due a few. Anyway, look, Hector Nelson, thanks a lot for calling in. It's a fucking really interesting call. One of the most interesting calls we've had on the show, no doubt.
Cool, man.
All right, see you. Best, brother. Right, and stay clean. Just say no. Right, so where are we at? Right, well, look, the chat's gone up. People are here. We're up to 600 fucking viewers. What the fuck is going on? 600. This is it. It's the esports big time. You are watching Trash Talk. And if you've got something that you want to talk about, maybe you want to try and fucking add to any of the callers, maybe you got something completely different. All you got to do is at Trash Talk TV. It's right there on your screen. Just add it to your Skype. You can tell our producer what you want to call in about. I think what we should do is we should go for a quick break. My Twitter feed is clogging up, and I've got a feeling it's going to be bad. Very, very bad. Yeah, look, everyone's like, check your Twitter, Richard. Oh, shit. So yeah, maybe we're not even going to get to finish this show. Maybe this is the end. We shall see. But anyway, don't go anywhere. There'll be more Car Crash esports goodness after the break. And we're back. Thought something was actually happening on my Twitter. It's just EG being upset because I guess the blacklist doesn't extend to Twitter. Oh no, I said faggot. Jesus. It's just like the best you guys can do, really. Come the fuck on, man. You know, like, I guess I'm the reprehensible one, right? Okay, cool. Hold that thought. Anyway, this is Trash Talk. So we are going to be continuing the calls. We're going to try and cram in as many as we can before we end it. because obviously we've got a lot of people calling in today. Record number of live viewers for the show. Well done, guys. Congrats to all of you for tuning in, and hopefully it's kind of delivered as something a little bit different within the esports space. Anyway, who have we got, Gareth?
His name's a bit hard to pronounce, so I'm not going to say
Right.
his name, but it's the guy that wants to talk about Riot's poor tournament format and how they're having trouble adapting to things in time and stuff. So
This is a good point. I mean, because we didn't touch on it with the previous caller, so yeah, let's do that then. So, hello. Oh yeah, it's UA Clout. Can you hear me? Hello, caller. You are on the air. Hello.
and the call, it seems like his mic's not working.
Okay. Well, look, we're gonna come back to you, man. When your mic's working, if you can hear me. Right. So who's the other caller?
The other caller is a guy called Jason, and he wants to talk about SKT's Nike sponsorship and the fact that people are saying Riot makes no money off competition/LCS.
Okay. Well, let's fucking do it then. So we've had a lot of Riot calls all of a sudden.
Hey.
Hello, can you hear me? Hey, how's it going, brother? You all right?
Good, I'm good. Richard, how's it going?
Nice. A picture of Obama as well. So is this the troll call? There's going to be a troll call coming. It's got to come.
No, I promise not to troll.
All right, man. Well, look, you're more than welcome to, man. It'll tip this show over the edge. So what have you got for me? What's on your mind?
Okay, well, basically, like, a few callers back, you guys were talking about LCS and stuff like that, and the guy kind of mentioned in passing that, like, Riot only makes money off microtransactions, and, like, they're actually not breaking even on the competition.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't imagine that SKT goes out to, like, 300,000 steady viewers in a Nike shirt, and they don't get a check from that. Like, I don't understand how that misconception is going around.
Well, okay.
Do
Well,
you believe that?
I don't know what to believe. Why didn't you tell me what you believe? Come on, lay it on me. Like, what?
I don't think it's possible. Because I'm a little bit involved in television advertising, and those kind of numbers, like especially when you see, people who try to stream for a living, and they come out of 5,000 viewers a day for 8 hours a day, and they make a living off of that. I can't see how 300,000 viewers with the Nike check showing up isn't like making a huge check for Riot.
Mm. Yeah, no, I don't think it is, and it's kind of hard because it's obviously a very important revenue stream, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's how much total revenue it actually generates, and what I'm thinking is it must be pretty fucking high. It's got to be, because I can't think of anything else that could possibly eclipse it. Just in terms of, fucking thinking about it logically. I mean, what else is there?
Yeah. And I understand that the LCS costs a ton of money, Worlds cost a ton of money, All-Stars cost a ton of money, but I don't know, I can't imagine, Twitch TV pays pretty well as far as I've heard from, those professional streamers. Mm-hmm. And I don't think, and they obviously make a ton off microtransactions, in-game purchases, stuff like that, but I can't imagine that, they don't make very much money off their competitive side.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think what I do like is the way that almost Riot have kind of stepped in and are trying to handle all of the almost like business side for them. They're presenting them with opportunities to make money, which is something that's been long overdue, I think, in League of Legends. And I know as well from the amount of money that's distributed directly to the teams, like from doing articles on Team Mon and things like that, and talking to the other teams that I interact with. I know about how they get it in a block sum and you got to fucking divide it up and stuff. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money that's going in. So yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't know. I mean, D-Man in the chat's kind of winking and saying, fucking maybe you haven't got all the facts at your disposal. So I'm loath to ally myself with you at the moment in case I get called a fucking idiot. So.
Oh yeah, I don't have any hard numbers or anything like that. So anyone who isn't.
But okay, elaborate on why you think it to be the case.
Basically, putting the Nike check in front of 300,000 people is worth a lot of money. A lot of money. Athletes get paid huge sums just to wear, Tiger Woods. All the best athletes get sponsorships from Nike. Tiger Woods, shit, I don't know many others actually, but basically they are like relegated to the elite of sports. So when they sponsor stuff like esports, it makes me pretty hopeful. You know what I mean? Like that's a huge sponsor. And,
Yeah, it is.
I don't know. I also wanted to say that LCS gets a lot of criticism for tournament formats. Their events. Oh, this is shit. Oh, this event was worse than last year. Guys, this is what we've wanted forever. Like, this is what we looked at Korea and we're like, oh my god, they fill stadiums. Like, people actually go and pay money to see this. Like, we're there. Like, this is what as much as I love StarCraft, this is what StarCraft couldn't do. Like,
yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that front. Like, I mean, there's no two ways about it. Like, some of the fucking people that have got associated with esports because of what Riot's done is fucking ridiculous. I mean, companies I couldn't have conceived of, even giving two tugs of a fucking dead dog's dick, like 5 years ago about esports. Like, you just couldn't approach these people. They'd have laughed in your face. Now, all of a sudden, you've got fucking people like American Express and people like that. I mean, like, it puts it in perspective, doesn't it? When StarCraft, they're fucking being told, the entire StarCraft community is being told to bend over backwards and take it up the ass to get Papa John's involved. And League of Legends is out there, like you say, dealing with these fucking huge, companies. But what I'm interested in is trickle down, and to use the sort of economic term, and that is, where does the money end up? Because look, League of Legends has this amateur scene that I think Riot kind of neglect. Like, if you ain't LCS, you ain't shit. And what I'd like to see is that sponsor comes in. And, we're starting to see it. We're starting to see, like, amateur leagues and, we had the NACL and things like this. It's starting to get there. But, like,
Challenger Series.
Yeah, exactly. The teams that exist outside of the LCS need sustaining as well, because otherwise it's all or nothing. People wonder why you see so many fucking retirements all of a sudden in League of Legends. It's because if you can't cut it in LCS and you're jeopardizing your team's spot, there's no chance you're going and making another team and coming back in. Those guys know it's make or break, and it's a huge, dramatic change in lifestyle to go from something like LCS to not having it at all.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I'm seeing in chat people are saying that, Riot and Nike aren't affiliated. Nike doesn't get to put their logo on stream for free, guys. Like, that's just not the way it works. Riot definitely gets a cut. There's no way that they just pay SKT and SKT walks out there and goes, oh yeah, we're wearing Nike. Riot definitely gets a cut of that. And also, this is it, I'm gonna go. But guys, if someone builds up the courage to kill Alex Garfield, we can save StarCraft.
Well, I definitely don't advocate a hit, man. If you want to have a whip round, though, no, I'm kidding. Definitely don't kill anybody. But I think you're making a good point, man. And but maybe here's the point. The fact is, neither of us know. The fact that we can sit here and we can debate it, and we can be on one side of the fence, and we can have people like Joe Miller and D-Man maybe say, oh, we don't know the full fucking thing. And it's true, we don't know the full fucking thing. So maybe it'd be nice for Riot, rather than having this whole kind of fucking, they go on this big PR offensive about how they're legitimizing esports as a sport. Well, how about then that they, maybe lift the veil a little bit on what actually happens? Like, once these companies get involved in esports, like, tell us, inform us. We're interested. We want to know about it. So, yeah.
All right. Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me. Hope I didn't
no.
Give an idiot.
No, you didn't, dude. Great call. Never be afraid to voice your opinion. Fucking, like I say, check out my Twitter feed, man. People call me worse than shit all the time, brother. Don't let it.
Right.
Don't sweat it. All right. Thanks a lot for calling in, Jace.
Yep. Take care, Richard.
All right. Catch you later. So there we go. So I think we got time for about maybe one more call at the rate they've been coming through. You can see that D-Man's still with us, still loving it. Who have we got left, Gareth?
We got that guy who tried to call him before and his mic weren't working. He's hopefully sorted that out now. So
okay, cool. Yeah, let's do it then.
He's just to jog the audience memories. It was talking about the format of the LCS and stuff.
Okay, cool. Bring him on. Is his mic working?
He's calling him. Hopefully, he answers and his mic's working. He hasn't answered yet though. Oh,
this call's been a fucking disaster.
Maybe this is the troll call.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the troll.
No.
The troll. Oh, here we go. We've got.
Yeah. I lag a bit whenever I call. Sorry, I forgot to mention it.
That's okay. So, what do you want to talk about, brother?
I'd like to talk about how poorly I think Riot is adapting to like tournament formatting and in general and gameplay features, I guess.
Okay, so what's on your mind?
Like people have been praising IPL 5's format. I don't know if you were around or were interested in League of Legends when IPL 5 was around. Well,
Yeah. I watched that.
And it probably had like the most praised format ever, and it was like before Season 2 Worlds. And Riot never adapted that at all in their like in how they do anything, and it kind of surprised me. And even Koreans have a better system with points and their like OGN champions, because last year it was so weird since most of the game there were all the group games were best of one, and then no loser bracket and quarterfinals, semifinals, best of three, and I believe only the finals was a best of five.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt so bad because so many good teams like worked a lot to get there, and they like didn't show much at all. And I actually this year, I feel kind of bad for saying it, but I was glad that Cloud9 lost, because I was 100% certain that if Cloud9 loses from their first games, people are going to whine about it.
Yeah,
So
well,
like,
I think we all saw that one coming, right? Like, I mean, you know, and it was almost half expected.
I don't know. I actually think Cloud9 is a pretty good team.
I think they're a good team, but here's why I thought it was half expected. I think if you play in a tournament condition for a long, long time, you know, like for a few days, and then a team comes in and they've got to play raw, and it's a straight knockout game, the team who's been going through the groups has the advantage. I think so, because they're more attuned to the tournament environment. So I think the people who came in were at a disadvantage and probably had to raise their game. From what I remember, I think it was Monte Cristo said that he thought Cloud9 were really arrogant and weren't taking it serious.
Yeah,
I wasn't there. I mean, so I can't attest to that one way or the other. And I wouldn't like to say Cloud9 have always struck me as a very professional team and nice guys. So I don't know.
They're not that nice.
Oh, well, yeah, that's just my impression. But, you know, they seem... I mean, the bottom line is I think they were at a disadvantage going into that knockout game.
It depends, because I think League's a game in which like studying teams beforehand is a big advantage, and I think that Royal playing versus Fnatic afterwards showed that, because they knew exactly what to ban versus Fnatic and how to deal with it, and they weren't like, I guess they weren't raw because they just beat OMG beforehand in like a best of three, and they beat them 2-0. But yeah, Monte Cristo actually did say that. He said that everyone except Hai, their mid laner, was a bit arrogant, and he wasn't expecting it going in. But again, like a big chunk of the viewership is like American, so I was 100% certain that Americans are going to complain about it, basically, since they didn't get to see much of their favorite team, and their like only hope that it was actually in the tournament still. Yeah, I don't know. And about C9 being nice guys, I'm not sure. I mean, I think you're friends with Thorin.
Good friends.
Yeah, there was a bit of an incident I found funny. I'm not sure how many people caught on to it, because people asked Thorin if he'd get any grilled interviews with C9.
Yeah.
And he said he'll never get them because Mikios got upset over a comment he made on Twitter in reply to Saint Vicious tweet that kind of pointed out the faults in his play. So Mikios came afterwards and said that him and his team will never do an interview with Thorin. I found that pretty arrogant and stupid, I guess.
I mean, like, I don't know. I want to stick to the whole format thing. Like the problem. Yeah, it's okay. There were massive problems with the format, no doubt about it. I really didn't like, you know, the buy system, and
me neither.
Yeah, and I think, you know, look, I know there's buy systems in other sports. Like people say, oh, there aren't, but there are. There are examples. But you know, for me, it just doesn't work. And if you want to move away from the whole double elimination thing, which people we say, oh, people outside of esports don't understand double elimination, so we don't want to confuse them. So what we want to do is what we want to do is we want to make it as easy to understand as possible.
Yeah,
I think
format.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the buy system doesn't help that necessarily. I'm not saying I can suggest a fairer system or a better system, but what I would say is that there are ways to do it, and Riot would need to explore that. I don't think anyone was satisfied with seeing Cloud9 play one game.
Yeah,
you know,
and
they're a big example. But obviously there are other teams in the buy system. I mean, some of them had no chance at all. And it's there was some people who came through in the buy system where there was actually stronger teams in the groups. Yeah. Like the tournament would have been richer if TSM had gone further, for example. So it's a shame. It's a shame because there's no second chances in the groups, but the buy system doesn't feel be fully satisfactory to me either. Do you have any ideas about a system that you would rather do? Like, is there?
I think IPL 5 system was probably the best. IPL had like a best of one round robin. I think they should stick to the best of two round robin, and then they should like go on with the tournament with quarterfinals and a loser bracket that keeps the losers. So because I think League is a game that kind of explores upon teams' ability to adapt to strategies and to increase their performance, and like putting them in a best of three doesn't display a team's full potential to deal with multiple situations in other teams. Like it kind of restricts them a lot, because for all I know, like Cloud9 could have done much better against, I don't know, maybe against SKT. Maybe they would have beat SKT. It's possible. Like they have a distinct style with letting Meteors farm up and like be a fifth threat or third threat or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
So it really doesn't show that, because that's what Worlds, I think, is all about. It's about clash, like, because LCS and OGN and all these tournaments are segmenting the regions so much. So the game is kind of evolving at its own pace in different regions. Like European game is more mid-centric, and etc. etc. So when we get this thing that is so hyped up and it's built around the whole season, a whole year, like people need to see how. I'd like to see at least, because I'm not really interested that much in all the glamour and all the show. I'm really more interested about like the strategy and the people like playing the game. That's why I watch the game in the first place. Like some guy playing a guitar, that's whatever. I don't care about presentation that much. Of course, it's good for them because having a good presentation increases their success and whatever. More public, more money for the players, more good players, whatever. But I'm like really interested, and I also thought, and I still think it's unfair that they hype up the finals so much compared to everything else. Like, and it was even more apparent last year, I think. I think it was better this year because at least they had the quarterfinals and the semifinals in Galen Center and had the studios for only rounds. Because, like, I understand the like PR perspective where they want to show the world something tangible to relate to other big events in sports. But there are a lot of good teams and a lot of good players, and like I think that like the finals getting all the glory kind of overshadows the rest of the games. I don't really like that much, to be honest. I also think, like you said, like the buy system is very odd. It's hard for me to like think up of something to fix it, since they have to find ways to reward people who actually get first place, second place, and third place in the LCS finals at the end of the season. Since the cash value is the difference between the first place and the other places isn't that great, and everybody just wants to get the spot itself. So I don't know how they can work around that, to be honest, like to make the teams that get the first place feel more special than the second place and the third place, because at the end of the day, everyone just wants to make Worlds.
Yeah. Well, look, man, I actually agree with you, and I think there's lots of ways that what we can do is we can fucking improve it. But again, I think Riot, what they're going to take from this is they're going to basically have to realize that, you know, it is a learning, a learning curve even for a company of their size and stature. And, you know, it feels to me like they're getting there. Sorry, I've got a cold at the moment. It feels to me like they're getting there. And, you know, they're getting closer. They are getting closer to the kind of overall goal of having something that's comparable to sports. Hello?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. And I also didn't like... Oh, sorry about that.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What, dude, what just happened?
I live on the
criminal.
6th floor, and like there's an ambulance passing through. It's very loud. I don't know why it's that loud. But, sorry.
What the fuck? I thought that was it. I thought the EG police had fucking got me. I thought it was you said faggot on fucking Twitter. That is it. You are arrested for the use of the F word. Yeah, I was worried there, dude. So anyway, yeah. So no, I think it's a learning curve. And, you know, I think they're getting there. I honestly think that, you know, we're going to get a tournament that is going to be, that's going to satisfy us as esports enthusiasts, but also something that's going to satisfy people outside of it. But I think that exists without the buy system. I think the buy system is confusing, and I think the buy system isn't fair on the teams that sort of come through it in a way, you know? So hopefully they'll work something out.
Yeah, I also didn't like the fact that they got, like, no offense to Mineski and GGEU, but I don't think they deserve to be there. Like,
well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Because I think Thorin put it in a way, it felt like some sort of Olympics rather than have the best teams play. Like, I'd rather see, I don't know, EG even, or some other Korean or Chinese teams to have those two spots. It feels like there were literally 3 wins for everybody else. Like Mineski and GGU, there were just 3 wins, and everybody knew the outcome. So how does that improve the quality of the games? Because that's what I at least would like to see more of.
All right. Well, again, I can't disagree with you. I wanted to end on a nice, strong, argumentative call, but I think you voiced an opinion, certainly from what I saw on Reddit. You know, I think people fucking agreed for the most part with it, and you know, like people weren't happy with the buy system. There's no getting away from it. I know that people wanted to include as many teams as possible and create this drama and high stakes games, but there's definitely better ways to do it, and I agree with you. And especially like you say, you know, teams coming in and getting 3 wins. You know, it wasn't even like the buy system. When you looked at the bracket, it wasn't even like it was even. You knew that one half of the bracket was stacked compared to the other. So yeah, it just didn't satisfy. I mean, that's the bottom line. But anyway, look, we've got to wrap up the show. So it's great that you were the last caller, and thanks a lot for calling in. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No, all the best, and hopefully you managed to escape the police.
Okay.
Yeah, seriously, I'll act as an alibi for you.
Okay.
All the best.
Fine. All the best. Good night.
So there you go. It wasn't him, officer. It couldn't possibly have been him, officer. He was calling an esports phone in. So there we go. Look, I just to round up the summary of the last call. You know, fuck it, man. Like he's right. It wasn't 100% right. I definitely felt sorry for Cloud9. Like maybe I'm in a minority there. Maybe people are subscribing to this idea that they're douchebags. I don't. I think they're good guys, and I think they work hard as a team, and I think they're a great team. I think they've got the right mindset, and they were hugely successful in LCS North America, and they're a team to be looked up to and respected, perhaps in ways that some of the other teams like CLG and TSM shouldn't be. But anyway, that's that. So we are going to wrap up this show. Just a final thing. I saw a lot of people in the chat kind of just fucking basically saying, you know, oh, well, I watched your show. We used ad block. Dude, like, right. First of all, I'm a big proponent of ad block. I think you should be able to exercise democratically which shows you support and which shows you don't, and whose work you support and whose work you don't. It makes sense to me, rather than having you just turned into a blind fucking number and a bit of money for someone who, you know, maybe you clicked on it by accident. Well, fuck that noise, you know? Like, ad blocks democratizing. If you want to support the show, by all means do it. And don't forget, I don't even produce this. I just sit in my fucking, you know, esports sex dungeon and fucking talk into a webcam. I mean, you know, I don't do any of the hard work. That's Gareth and the boys at Streamgasm who produce this show. So, you know, if you want to support them and their efforts, you do that by hitting the subscribe button. I'm not going to advocate it. I don't see a fucking penny. But if you like what they do, and they do other content besides this, support them. If you don't, you know, fuck it. Like, don't think it's going into my pocket. It isn't. I don't make a penny from advertising. I don't give a fuck about any of that. Right? I don't get paid extra if 10,000 people read an article or 10 people read an article. My paycheck's the same every week. So there you go. Just to let you all know. So the whole ad block taunts, it's not going to bother me. Right. So guys, it's been a great show. I'm going to go and deal with some Twitter drama. But what you can do is you can fucking tune into this every week. Trash Talk Wednesdays, 8 o'clock. That's 9 o'clock Central European summertime. Lots of new viewers today. Really stoked about that. Even if I had to, you know, basically kind of maybe rope a few of you in with some car crash, Reddit, flame, or whatever. Hopefully you'll stick around. You'll come back next week. 'Cause at the end of the day, show ain't really about me. It's about y'all.
Follow the channel as well, because I now know.
Yeah. If you follow this channel, which is twitch.tv/Streamgasm, follow me on Twitter, Richard_A_Lewis, and at Streamgasm on Twitter as well. You can keep all the updates, follow all the drama for yourself, rather getting it secondhand. But anyway, till next time, brothers and sisters, I'll see you next week.